Hi everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone for today's session. Before we begin, I want to ask you all something and hold this thought. How many of you have ever felt that, am I really ready for this industry? Or why is this job search taking so long? What am I missing here? If this sounds familiar, you are in the very right place because today's session is not just another webinar. It's a real story of navigating exactly what many of you are going through right now. Today, we are joined by Pavan Kalyan, who brings valuable real world experience navigated the journey many of you are currently on. Pavan started as an international student, facing the same uncertainties, adapting to a new environment, building industry ready skills, and breaking into a competitive job market. Through persistence, continuous learning, hands on experience, he successfully transitioned into working on enterprise level projects within agile teams. What makes this session valuable is that Pavan brings practical, honest insights, not just success highlights, but real challenges, mistakes, and lessons that helped him grow. Today, he'll be sharing his journey, key mindset shifts, and actionable advice to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Pavan to all of you.
Hey
Pavan, I would
everyone.
love you to just address the audience.
Sure. Hey everyone. First of all, Divina, nice hearing about my background from you. Thank you for that warm introduction.
Great. So, Pavan, it's great to have you here with us today. Let's start from the very beginning of your journey, right? So, Pavan, can you tell us where exactly are you from India and what made you decide to come to the US with the dreams that you had?
I think, Divina, many of the students here relate to my story, at least at the beginning of my career. So I'm, like you said, I moved from India to here, being an international student initially, an immigrant from Indian who has nothing but just visa and passport and ambition and a dream that can be fulfilled. So that's all I had initially when I moved with a lot of uncertainties and things like that. So around 2015, obviously there's a lot of struggle before I have to go through a lot of exams like GRE, IELTS, things like that, and applied to multiple universities. Got accepted out of five I applied, got four. One I'm sure while applying also I'm not going to get in, but I did took a risk to apply that as well. I got four and pick one. Got to typical interview process. Get my F1 stamping around 2015, around June, and then my classes were started around August. So I had to be here within 30 days. So I planned my time around that time and moved from India to here in 2015 August to be precise. That's
All
where it all
right.
started.
It all started back then.
Yeah,
Okay. So I love asking this question. What was that one moment early on where you thought, okay, this is harder than I expected?
that's a great question. Definitely not my education. I did my master's in computer science, so which was easy. Well, compared to Indian education, here it was easy for me to get grades. I ended up having 3.7 GPA out of 4. That was easier. The toughest one right after that, it all started. So yeah, I got graduation. Got very happy on the graduation day, celebrating my day. But right after that, all comes to one point. Hey, what is next? Going to get a job? Am I going to get my H1 visa approved? Who is going to apply for my H1? How soon it will happen? Do I need to move different place in US? Which place it would be? Whether it's west, east, down to Texas? That uncertainty was the challenging days. So yeah, it still gives me that feeling whenever I think about it, like, oh, that was a tough times in the entire my journey compared to my education or my job that I'm doing right now.
I'm sure many of the students with us in the audience today can relate to that moment and experience because they are struggling with the same, flood of thoughts in their mind. I would now also invite Neeti to co-host this session with me. So she'll be pitching in a couple of questions for you. Over to you, Neeti.
Thank you so much, Davina. And Pavan, great story. By the way, I'm sure this is going to inspire a lot because there are a lot of other students going through the same kind of questions right now who are here with us. Really excited. I can see there are a lot of them who've joined us on the webinar. So thanks a lot, guys, for taking time out on a Tuesday and joining us on the webinar session. So one of the questions that I definitely have in mind is, at times or not at times, when you start off with the job search journey, right? There are a lot of thought processes that we have in mind. And at times that can go wrong. So, what, according to you, is the actual misunderstanding that usually students have when they think that they're really job ready versus when they know that they're really job ready, they get the job?
Yep, that's a good question, Nidhi. I think times are keep changing and evolving. When at my times, when I started initially looking out for job, it was easy to hear from my seniors like, "Hey, you just migrate from India to here, get complete your masters, find a consulting team, and then start applying for jobs." It is not that easy, as my senior says. Yes, one in out of 100, maybe they get lucky through consultancies and things like that. But the real struggle comes after, like, what as soon as you get graduated, you will be in that uncertainty. Hey, which path I need to choose? Do I need to find my job on my own? Can I apply for full-time jobs? If yes, they're asking me, are you GC, are you a citizen? They're not even asking, they're not even knowing some of my full-time jobs that I applied. They're not even knowing like OPT status. What do you mean by OPT status? So those are like difficult situations to run through. And that sounds very easy when someone tells me when I migrated from India to here. But process at the journey where you are like started applying for jobs, your OPT clock is ticking. I have to get that like immediately get the stopped and apply for get crack interviews that I'm going through. So those are the times that no one talks about. Everybody talks about, hey, yeah, apply for jobs, go through consultancy, and then you get jobs. So that's as simple as it, you can hear, but in reality it's not at all that easy. Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, very, very true. There are so many steps to it. So, like, have you had any rejections from any company initially when you were looking for a job that probably changed your course of, the job search? Do you recall anything?
Yep, there are many, not one. So initially, like I said, it's easy to get job. That's my mindset. So started building my resume, updated my LinkedIn, started going to door wherever I see a company that has a, hiring opening, applying and feeling like, oh, I can get this job easy. So I go and I apply. Out of six, I end up having interview of three. But I know for sure as soon as I enter, I'm not gonna get selected. So that's how I was feeling. It took me almost 6 months to get to the reality. So yeah, that's the struggle. Each interview you go, you felt like it's easy initially, but you'll know the reality as soon as you started going.
Yes, yes. I think me and Davina, we've seen many such stories here. These are great answers, by the way, Pavan. And I just want to pause. All of you guys who joined us on the webinar, please feel free to put up your questions on the Q&A box. Me and Davina will be definitely taking that for Pavan in the end. Okay, so any questions that you would like to ask Pavan, please feel free to put that up. Davina, would love for you to take over and ask other questions.
So, Pavan, as you say this, I think it's really important because many students assume that they are the only ones struggling, but that's really true. It's everyone's journey, it's just how you face things. So, what did you start doing differently when things weren't working out the way you had expected them to?
Yeah, I think one thing I did differently is getting mentored by one of my mentor, and not by just applying for the sake of applying jobs or for the ambition to get a job, but having that mentor by my side. I had a lot of uncertainties on like, why am I not getting job? That's a core question. But what am I doing wrong is not there initially. But as soon as I speak with my mentor, he's able to tell me, oh, the question that you should ask is, what are you trying to get a job? What actually you're doing? The answers that I'm trying to give is, oh, I'm trying to get a job through consultancy. I'm trying to get a job to stop my OPT. I'm trying to get a job to apply for my H1B. Those are all everyone answers, but the main answer, main question that I was missing is like, how can I get a job? Which technology that I need to be focused on? How do I prepare for my interview? What kind of question that I would expect from the interviewer? How many rounds of interviews that I need to be cleared? How do I behave when I go in-person interview over an online interview? Nowadays, most of interviews are online, but back in 15 or 16, 2016, I have to go in person. Many of the openings that I go through, so need to know those dynamics. How do I do things like that? Those are very valuable lessons that changed my job search. I end up having two offers at the same time. I mean, both are like literally, same day joining. I have to decide which one to go, whether go to Florida, whether go to this XYZ place. So I have this all certainty came in just because I changed my mindset uh, with the help of my mentor, like how I do things differently compared to what I've been doing.
Great. That's a very powerful piece of learning that you've shared with us, Pavan. So, was there any specific project or experience, and as you say, a mentor that accelerated your growth?
Definitely my first project that I end up having. So I got a job after 6 months timeline. So as soon as I got that first opportunity, so that entire journey was let me learn a lot of things. So first thing, it's a typical question that we started asking ourselves, right? Like, oh, what kind of interview question that I can be prepared? So I started preparing those by my own, and then having mentor and gives me different perspective of how to prepare for the interview questions. That gives me more confidence and being able to understand what project and how do I answer, because at the initial stage of my career I had only internship experience, that too within my college or school that I'm in, but not a real time experience. So I'm graduated from India bachelor's and moved to here masters, did an internship while doing masters, but not having that real project experience. So having this mentor explaining that a real project, how does it works, because he was also working in the MNC company, so he was able to explain me. He was able to show me that how the processes work, including hey, how do we start our day? How does this project management works? How do we deal with the agile process? How do we even finish our day, start committing the code? So minute level, those are very important. That helped me actually. That real experience, sharing the project experience, helped me to answer the interview questions, because sometimes it's very easy to answer bookish answer, right? Like a question would be like, hey, how do you commit GitHub code? Having that real knowledge or experience shared by someone, and you listened and you understood, that your answer would be more authentic than you can say it as read it out of loud. So that's something that helped me, that real project experience shared by my mentor. But obviously I seen that as soon as I joined the project, I was initially worried, hey, how does it going to look like? I know I cracked the interview. Now it's a real deal. I have to be in the project. But it all come to reality. Like whatever I learned with my mentor, I can be able to tell, oh, this is exactly what he told. Okay, that's what I'm doing. So I don't have any issue. Yeah, that's something that helped me a lot, Divina.
Great thoughts, Pavan. It's very powerful sometimes to understand that what you need to stop doing matters more than starting the new ones. So, focusing on real learning, working with real mentors definitely accelerates your growth. Good piece. Niti, you can take
Yeah,
up.
and I really love the way you spoke about how the project really gave you the confidence to speak in the interview. We've seen that with so many of our students as well, the ones who keep themselves active and work on projects continuously to upskill themselves and brush up on the skills. Rather, they're the ones
Yep.
who can. So I'm really glad that you picked that up. So what we've also noticed, Pavan, is that a lot of the times we have students who really know their tools, their concepts really well. Okay.
Yep.
But they're still struggling in the interview. So where exactly do you feel that the gap is there? You know?
Yeah, that's a good question. And many of my, I mean, including myself, if I have to think back my 6 months of journey of searching for a job, that's the key key aspect that I'm missing. So I was able to answer whatever technical question you ask.
Yeah.
I'm much confident in that, but I get caught easily, like, hey, this person doesn't have that much of experience that we are thinking. So that is the rejection that I'm getting in, like, because easily, even now I can tell if I'm meeting with someone or interviewing someone, which I do like easily, per month I do like 6 7 interviews to hire. The one thing that easily catch up is, hey, this person doesn't have real experience. Why? Because the way they answer, the way they're explaining things or not directly meets the real experience. It is purely like, hey, how do I solve X problem? That is exactly what I was doing mistake when at the beginning stage. As soon as I get that knowledge, like, hey, how do I do this real project? Like, what kind of things that happens? It's not about just writing code. It's about like, how do you manage the project? How do you collaborate with your BAs? How do you collaborate with your product manager? What do you expect the end of the day you know done with your
Right.
work? And then how do you deal with your QA team? So that real knowledge will always help me to answer and better prepare for an interview. Otherwise, I have that internal conflict. Oh, can I answer? Is it the right answer to give? When I tie that to my real experience knowledge, it gives more confidence for me to say something to an interviewer rather than just feeling like, oh, is it a right answer that I'm saying? Oh, is the interviewer thinks that I gave right answer? So that all solved me a lot. Gives me that internal confidence. Like, hey, I can tell, I can relate to real project. So yeah, that's something that definitely helps a lot.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. I'm really excited to see, guys. We're already having questions pouring into the Q&A box. Thanks a lot. Please keep them coming. Please do note that we'll be taking any questions toward the end of the session. So just to keep this going, Pawan, we don't want to break this flow right now. Just
Sure.
quickly want to check. Now, you were talking about the fact that you were talking about this, right? The skills which is required. So now that you have a job, right?
Yep.
What, according to you, are the top 3 skills? It could be technical, it could be soft skills as well from your side. In the workplace, like what actually matters in the workplace? Like if you were to highlight top 3, what would that be?
That's a great question. The dynamics are changed very quite compared to when my initial days to today. But if I have to divide into 3 things for a job, once you land in the job, the 3 things are much important, and they check the 3 things in the interview also.
Mhm.
Obviously, first main thing is your technical skills that everybody checks. Hey, are you right qualified for this whatever the job that you're applying? Let's say if you're a backend engineer, they check on backend stuff, front end depends on the technology stack that you are. Second one they check is more of your communication skills around problem solving. How do you understand the requirement? Whether you're able to articulate that requirement, then only you can able to provide a right solution. So every interviewer looks for that, and that is a key skill in the job also. So you land a job, you don't know what they're talking, you don't understand how to work, you don't know how to manage the project. These are all creates a lot of problems, but having that is very important, and that's what they check as well. The last one, which a lot of people miss, so does I, is the product that you are getting interviewed, or the product that you're working are going to work, are going to be working on, is important. You should do some research on that, like, hey, what product that I'm going to work on. Like when you know, like, hey, this is an interview that I need to attend, first thing you need to know is like, hey, what product is it? Do some background check on that, like, hey, what is the product, how does it work, what kind of industry and things like that. And that actually helps in the job also, to easily understand the requirements that are given by your BA or the product owner. Those are the 3 important things. Like one is product knowledge, communications, and around the communication, it's not just about English. When someone says communication, don't assume that, the things around the communication. And the last one is technical. Obviously, you cannot get the technical skills from day one, but nowadays there are a lot of AI tools that you can be able to learn and coop up. But the other two, it's very difficult unless you spend more time or get some mentorship in those areas.
Okay, these are very insightful. I'm sure all of them who are attending the webinar will find this very insightful. So it's a product which is very important, right? And then it's not just, so I understand the communication part. It's not just the articulation, right? It's also, are you listening well enough? Do you understand it? Do you get a grasp of it? Are you able to talk relevant when you're replying back?
Exactly.
I think it's
Yep.
holistic, right? And then the technical part, without a doubt, right? These are
Yep.
the topics. Oh, that's great. Thanks a lot for answering that. Davina, over to you.
Guys, this is real gold. If you're taking notes, this is where you need to really focus. You are hearing from the best experts in the field, so please make your action plans accordingly. So, Pawan, moving from that learning to another piece of learning that is very important for everyone in the audience today. Everyone hears about agile. So, can you just help us understand what does a typical day actually look like in a team?
That's a great question. So I used to Google in my initial days, like, hey, what is agile? And then Google says something, and then I read that. And then in interviews, if someone asks, hey, did you work in agile environment? I say yes. And then they're like, what do you mean by agile? How does it helps? And I was like, yeah, whatever I know, I just say that. But actually, that is not the case. I started learning that very quickly in my first job. So to answer your question, Divina, it's about a practice that any project management team follows to generate the results very fast. So I tell my team, agile is not about just attending meetings or getting your work done and closing the card or using the Jira. It's not just that. It's about the process that you follow to get the work done. Yes, it has to be orchestrated well. So no one is gonna. Every team is different. Again, every team is following different orchestration within the agile. So core practices of agile is like less documentation, more work. Less documentation, more customer satisfaction. Less documentation, more code. So that's a core motto of agile, iterative agile that we talk about here. Again, project management, there are many ways to do it. In traditional ways, waterfall methodology, you'll have all the requirements ready. Typical software development life cycle, you'll get the requirements, you will estimate the requirements, you'll get it done, you'll have your QA team test it, and then you release to production. But in agile fashion, we do like agile will do it differently. Again, it depends on the team. So typical agile follows a sprint cycle, whether it's a 2 weeks or 3 weeks. In our organization right now, we follow 2 weeks strict sprint. So in these 2 weeks, there are three key aspects in any software development team. One is the requirements, second one is the development, third one is the quality, right? So within the requirement space, the BAs or product owners or project managers work with the clients. They start writing the requirements in the backlog. So once they have backlog of the requirements, and then they have work with the technical team to refine that backlog into easy chunkable work that can be done within 2 weeks, and then get that work done within the 2 weeks, and then give it back to QA team for testing, and then release into prod. I give this example always. So think like this: if you are celebrating a Diwali festival, or you're hosting a potluck at your home, so that's just a project, right? It's a project that you need to get it done. The main aim of the project is, let's say, if you're hosting a Diwali party or potluck, the guests should be happily enjoy the meal and then leave your home or the place that you are hosting with a happy face or full tummy, right? But the prep behind is a lot, right? So let's say you have a date fixed. So my potluck day is 3 weeks from now. So that means I have to plan from today. So that's called planning phase, where BAs and product owners will sit together, write the requirements, right? Like they write all the backlog of requirements. So hey, in order to meet the deadline, so we need to do all these things. So I need to get the groceries done. I need to send the invite. I need to create the invite for guest list. I need to buy the groceries. I need to prepare for cooking. I need to prepare number of dishes that I wanted to cook for, or I need to know how many people that I need to serve for. So all this become my backlog of requirements that I tie up in Agile. Then I plan each one in a sprint. In this case, the sprint would be like, hey, each day, what do I need to do? So day one, or day minus 30, assume that 2 days is zero. So I plan my entire 30 days period, and then divide into each day. What do I need to do? The first day maybe creating an invite list. Second day, sending that invite out. Fourth day, collecting the final guest list, right? So this everything should be acting period like one by one, and each one can be done multiple people. It cannot be like one person doing everything. So you can assign this work to specific developer kind of situation here. You can assign this work to your brother, and some work to your father, some work to your sister. So each one, assume that you're developers, right? Like you're giving each specific task. So now every day you meet with them. It's called daily stand up. Quick 5 minutes, you catch up. Hey, you have all these assigned tasks. Where are we standing today? So everybody gives quick update like, hey, I have the grocery list. I have everything that I needed. Or hey, I have the invite list. I created my invite. I have the guest list, things like that. If you're a cooking session, then you don't need to be joining that daily stand up until you're reaching the day that you start cooking, right? Or you start joining the calls, stand up calls, to learn what's happening, get updates like whether everything going well or not, so that you're ready for cooking, or maybe you need to change something, right? So that's the planning phase that happens. In execution, you do daily check-in to make sure that everything going well. If anything change, you immediately notify in the daily check-in, and then you make quick changes. Then once you have reached to the deadline, which is basically you completing your software development day by day, you reach to the timeline. You'll have always you cook. Someone has to test it. How is it? If it is salt is there, or your spices are there or not. So that's a quality check. Someone will do it. Once it is passed, then your days actually comes in, which is a production day, which we call it fixed releases in agile world. It's nothing but release day. So we tie up to everything. We tie up to that release day, and that's the cadence that we do. Go no go calls. We'll do. Hey, everything is done. Are we ready to launch? Go no go. We'll have that sign in, buy-in from customers as well. If everybody agrees, we'll push it to production. And obviously anything can go wrong in the production, so we'll have again a backlog of items that comes as a bugs, and we do hot fixes and things like that. Again, cycle starts from zero, right? It's a pure cycle of software development, but iterative approach and day by day approach, and solving problems immediately rather than piling up and solving it at once. Again, it's a long answer. I can talk next 1 hour about agile, but experience tells me agile is nothing but how you plan your project, whether it's a personal project, whether it's a software development project. It just comes down to get the things in a chunk rather than doing everything at once, which is difficult at sometimes.
Thank you
Hope
so
that.
much, Pawan, for breaking this up into such a relatable example and, helping demystify something everyone hears about agile. It's a very misunderstood term. And the way you presented it through this beautiful example, I'm sure a lot of students have gotten a lot of clarity on it. Now, moving from what actually agile is, there's a question that I feel that a lot of students with, that what mistakes do freshers make when entering team-based environments? That you said that you actively interview a lot of people every day and you're mentoring people. I want to hear from you that what do you think are the biggest mistakes that freshers make when entering the team-based environments, and what they should be doing to avoid that?
Yep. I think, Divina, that's everybody can guess that, like, as the day you join the of your first job, the fear of being fresher is always there, and it shows on your face. That's no question asked. You ask any person, they would say the same thing, like, hey, my first day I was so much fear, and it definitely shows in your face. The only way to outperform that is knowing what to expect in the day one job, right? So asking that question, someone has to, you need to ask this question to your mentors. Hey, what do I expect on the day one? Once you know that, like, how is your day one look like, then that fear goes away. Otherwise you still have that fear because you don't know what to expect, right? An example, my first day was like, I have a clarity with my mentor. Hey, you would be meeting this XYZ person at the lobby, right? And then he's your team lead. So you meet with him, and then he's going to take you to his place, and you're going to meet with the XYZ number of team members. So here's how your introduction looks like. Start having that prep. Like, when you meet someone, obviously first thing you do is you introduce yourself, right? And they introduce themselves. It's very common everywhere, right? Like, if it's workplace or outside. So prepare for that interview, like introduction is much important. I would say that eliminates some of the fear. And then the something that that you expect and that is not the reality is, a lot of people expect from day one I'll be like, I'll be sitting in front of a laptop and getting the work done. Nope. The day one, day two, I call with my new joinees also, it's honeymoon period. So every company, they have to set up your accounts, they have to get your laptops, they have to get your accounts to link to the access, product access, documentation access, GitHub access, many things that goes, depends on the complexity of the project, right? And it is not immediate, or it's not 5-minute job. There are like processes, there is IT team, there is a security team that needs to clear some things. You have your badge, sometimes your badge will take 2-3 days, right? So first day or first few days, your job is nothing but introducing yourself with others. That's pretty common. Everybody will come and talk to you, or you need to talk to others, right? That's the day one looks like. It's empty silence, or you're speaking with someone, just introducing yourself. So preparing for that is very important. Then assuming that, hey, day one I'll be working on the project, so I'll be like closed rooms, or with my headsets on, and I'm working. That's not the reality, and if you have that expectation, you would be definitely disappointed, and you will have that fear. Oh, what do I do next? Oh, this person is coming to me or walking to me, or do I need to go to that person and ask some questions? So that fear will be definitely challenging, and I can see that with all the freshers. As soon as they join, that's the fear that they have. But if I see a senior person joined, they know exactly what needs to be done. The questions that they would be asking me, like, hey, when do I get my badge? After their interaction, right? Or they would be asking more of, hey, I got this new laptop. What are the tools that I need to be installing? Who do I need to reach out? Who is the business analyst that I need to meet with? Who is the product owner that I can meet with to better understand the product knowledge? Who is the dev lead or tech lead that I can meet with to understand the technology stack that we are using better? Who is the QA person that I can meet with? So these are the questions that seniors will ask me, and I would ask the same if I end up having to work on a new project. But freshers or new joinees tend to miss that due to lack of experience. I did the same, but I did have some knowledge on what I'm going to do on the first day. But if you're not expecting, or if you have some expectation on your first day, just think this: like in your first day, it's nothing but you are going to meet with people. So how do I present yourself? That's important. Then expecting a work on the day one, so that shows up in your face.
Wonderful. These are like really insightful learnings for each one of us to carry and prepare ourselves for the first day into their new role. All right. Thank you. Niti, you can take up.
Yes. So first days are usually different, right? I'm also curious to understand, Pavan. As sometimes at freshers, you tend to kind of compare yourself a lot with others around you. You tend to compare yourself with many people. Maybe your alum, or your seniors, juniors, whoever, right? And there is a lot of self-doubt that kind of creeps in. How did you deal with it in the initial stages?
Oh yeah, I still remember everything that I do. I would think twice: is it the right thing I'm doing? Even just punch in my clock in hours. I was like, can I punch in at? I came at 9 a.m. It's 9:30 now. If I punch in now, does it look bad? Or even 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm leaving the office. Oh, I'm leaving. Am I leaving early? Can I wait for everyone else to leave? Can I punch out now? Oh, I'm logging into this. I got this email from IT team that's saying that, hey, I now have a badge to pick up. Whom do I need to ask? So there's a lot of uncertainties. There is no workaround. Only workaround is to knowing that what to expect. Hey, when I get this badge access, what do I do? When I get this GitHub request to create an account, what do I do? Whom do I need to ask? Or knowing that, hey, where do I find onboarding? Checklist. Where do I find onboarding instructions? Most of the projects have the onboarding instructions. IDES for my project that we work with. So any new employee joins, they have to go through these onboarding instructions, right? Knowing that would have been much better for me if I'm in that uncertainty. But without knowing that, everything that you do, you have a second doubt, like, hey, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? All that comes in. But as soon as you will be able to find there is an onboarding checklist, then it solves a lot of things. You can see literally what you need to do. If you're a developer, there is onboarding checklist for developer. If you're general employee, general employees details, QA related stuff. So that helps a lot. It gives that sense of validation. Oh, this is a step one that I need to do. Looks like if I block here, they're saying I need to reach out to XYZ person. Oh, I know exactly whom I need to reach out, right? So those are the only way workarounds, I would say. But it's always 100%. It's not easy to get rid of that question. Am I doing it
Right.
right? Or the self doubt. It's not that easy. But just remember that there is an onboarding checklist that you need to go through. As soon as you find that, then you're almost like 60 to 80%. You'll be able to manage a lot of things. Rest, you need to find a buddy. So as soon as you join, you can be able to find someone who is relates to you. So maybe that one person that you need to meet and ask these questions like, hey, how do I do the onboarding things? Do you have checklist? Have you done it? in your day one, how are you able to do it? So those are the workarounds, but there is always a self doubt for sure.
Yeah, okay. That was a great suggestion. I think I had done that once in one of my workplaces, having a buddy
Yeah.
on board whom you met and you were comfortable with and you could ask them any question without I mean, usually we become very apprehensive to ask questions. So if you can comfortably ask someone in the office, I think that's great. So
Yeah.
just curious to know, did you like have any routine or was there any habit that you followed to keep yourself consistent even during tough times, in the initial stages?
Yeah, that's a good question. Nidhi, it's just a lot of people. I mean, I learned over time, definitely not initial stage, uh, especially in US. It's not in India, or maybe we think that being in that culture, we think that 8 hour is a work day, right? And especially the such some contracting jobs, it just says like 8 hour contracts. And your monthly is 168, or depends on the company. But in US work culture, it's not that. The thing that we always miss is US companies, they look for more than 8 hour work, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the time. Hey, they're not asking you to spend your personal time or something, but they're looking that quality amount of time that you can spend initially. All right. Many of
Mm.
US employees that you work with, you ask this question, they'd be saying like, hey, I work 12 hours, I work 10 hours, I work more than 8 hours. These are the answers that you hear. So that is important initially, where you need to come out of that comfort zone, be able to spend extra time to learn new things, being curious and ask these questions to to people around you. It's what one thing that we think is like, hey, I'm new to the organization. The second thing we think about is like, oh, I'm fresher to this organization. So that self doubt will always difficult. So what you need to think is like, everyone who joins the new job, it always their first day in that company. So being in that mindset and asking that question, hey, how do I do this, what do I do this, it's nothing wrong asking. Like if you don't know, asking your buddy, or whoever in the nearby to you, that solves a lot of problems. Maybe that's the one thing that I keep following, like having that mindset of, hey, it's not just 8 hours. uh, I'm just joining this organization as a new. That means I need to think about what it makes sense for me to learn, be a different than a person who can come in and clock out as a contractor, or being curious to ask this question, hey, what do I do best, what do I do differently, what is right in your organization. So those kind of questions, curious questions you should ask.
Okay, great. Okay, that was a good suggestion. Asking questions. Perfect. I think Divina, maybe you have some more questions from your side.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pawan, for making this interaction so engaging. And
Yeah.
everything that you're talking is a great actionable takeaway for the students here. Moving from, just wanted to understand what role did networking actually play in your journey? Because we emphasize enough on networking in most of our conversations with the students, but wanted to hear from you with that. What role did networking play for you?
I think to answer this, the culture that we come out initially is like, we always have this fear. Hey, can I meet with this guy? Can I ask this question to this guy? We end up not having any network. It's a typical culture that I grew up as well. I kind of tend to be scared initially, like, hey, I'm a fresher. Can I talk to this senior guy? Can I be able to ask this question? Oh, let's not worry. I might be getting into trouble. So those are fears. But as soon as you get out of that fear, and then start having more people around you to help, like let's say for example, you have some UI/UX related issue, as soon as you should know whom to reach out. That person is more than happy to help you. That is something that I learned over the time. In any organization that you work, there are always people around you, they're ready to help you. No one will say, no, I'm not going to help you. There are very less to know people that will say, hey, I'm not going to help this person, right? It's all about, as soon as you ask them, they're ready to help, because they also are interested to expand their network, right? So everybody wants to have more network, so that mutual benefits, right? So you should know whom to reach out, and you should expand that network. Like, hey, if you should ask that question, hey, if I don't know how to Jira, who is that person that I need to meet with in this organization? If I have some bugs that are coming back to me as a developer, who is that QA that I need to meet with? If I have some technical questions, who is that one person that I need to meet with? Yeah, obviously online. Nowadays AI is your friend and whatnot, you can ask them. But having that people around you that will help you not just in your job that you're doing, but also outside of job, right? Like they can help you in future, like if you're landing for new job, they can be able to help you. Or within the organization your contract is done, there is a new contract, they can recommend you based on your work ethics, right? It's never only technical skills that you have, it always the network that you can gain within the organization that will help you to land your next jobs also, or continue in your job long run. If you don't have anyone, you're working silo, getting the work done. Yeah, it's a ticking time. You What next thing you know is your 6 months contract is done. You're moving out, unless you have a network of people that around you know you and they seen you working, so they can be able to help you also day-to-day job, and also in future any references that you needed. So definitely important thing having network.
Great. So, Pavan, just wanted to understand from you that when you felt networking works, and for the students who are listening to you here today, what should they start doing this week if they are really serious about getting hired? What's your advice for them?
That's a great question. So the thing that helped me is you should have someone by you to, or at least you should have someone to ask questions that you have, right? If you have a mentor that you can ask a question, many of the time we as an interest student, I also have my seniors contact, but they're busy in their day-to-day life, right? Like they also have the job, they're struggling on their side. But having that mentor where you can be able to ask questions and get answers immediately, that helps and boosts your confidence to land your first job, if it is your first job, or land a new career if it is your next job that you're looking for. Otherwise it's always difficult, working by yourself. Like we may think that, hey, I'll apply jobs, I am seeing this LinkedIn job openings, there are like 1,000 jobs coming in every day, I'm clicking buttons, I automated it, I'm applying 1,000 jobs at one day. So those are all statements that you can make, but having that person behind you or helping you to answer your questions would always help you navigate your next step, whether it's an interview, whether it's first day of your job, whether you are in the job. So yeah, something that will definitely help, Divina.
Okay. So, Pavan, we have a lot of engaging questions pouring in the Q&A, but before that, Niti also has a question to ask. After that, I'll move to the Q&A.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap up with this one last. You've been great, by the way, Pavan. Just to add in, very patient, and thanks to you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. One last question that I definitely have for you is, for all of the students who are listening to you right now, what would you want to tell them directly? These are all students who are looking for a job, anxious. The job market is not as great as it was before. So, what one piece of advice would you want to give them directly?
Prepare. That's the one word I would say. I mean, it's all the things that keeps setting us back, right? Like, hey, the job market is bad, you're not having
Right.
these openings. All these things are it's a fact that those are happening in the real world. But the thing that you need to be having is you keep preparing for the things, and having that mindset of asking questions, or having that person to ask questions and prepare well, right? Like how do I prepare for my interview first, what kind of jobs that I need to apply first, and then prepare for interview. And then, like, let's say if you end up having round two, then what do I do for round two? Or maybe in-person interview, how do I prepare for in-person differently? Or you landed your first job, you got an offer letter, so prepare for how do I do first day or first week. If you're in currently job, then prepare for, like, hey, what is next 6 months looks like for me. My contract is going to expire, or can I look for a 12-month job? Is it a full-time job? What kind of technology stack that I need to learn for? So prepare is more important than having that ambiguity or having that answers like, hey, job market is bad, or I'm already applying for 10 jobs. Oh, I applied for 20 jobs yesterday. So that's all. Yes, that's all needed. But having that, like, yes, that's one side, but the other side is main thing is you preparing for your career. It's not like someone is preparing for your career. So end of the day, it's your career, you need to prepare. Yes, there are people can coach you, mentor you, You need to take that as much as you can, but having that mindset of, hey, I want to prepare, and this is my job end of the day that I need to do, and this is my career end of the day that I need to be catching up. That's one thing I would suggest, like prepare, prepare, prepare.
Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Pawan. I think that answer was spot on. Me and Divina, we're definitely smiling a lot. And yes, even we do offer so many different variations of preparations here at ElevateMe. So I
Nice.
think we can definitely wrap up here. I know we have just 10 minutes to go. And
Yes,
yeah, I
that
think
was a really incredible, insightful session, Pawan. Now we'll open the floor for live question and answers. We already have some really engaging questions up there in the Q&A box. And for the others who are still thinking through and absorbing and acknowledging everything that Pawan has shared, this is your moment, guys. Please drop your questions here. Make them specific so that we can answer as many as possible. And let's, you know, learn and engage and hear from your speaker here who has the real experience. So, Niti, could you please take up the questions from the chat?
yes, I have it open here. So the first question that we have here, Pawan, is do you think recruiters can call you anytime? And is it mandatory to attend all phone calls?
That's a good question. So there are two kinds of recruitment team. The first team is initial screening team. Yes, they can message you sometimes. They call you. They email you. That's all happens. But those are like initial screening recruiters that they can do anytime. Again, it's hard to tell because their job is to find the right candidate for a job opening. So they can reach out to you anytime. The second kind of recruitment team is purely, majority of the time you notice that's the second level. Once you're done with the first round of interview, the second round of interviews are like more of a scheduled on a right time, whether it's a Zoom call or Teams invite. So they'll have a proper timings that you can follow. But some recruitment, especially the initial layers, they can email you and phone call you anytime, and you cannot set your times like, hey, I'm gonna only answer from 9 to 5. Rest of the time I'm on something else. So maybe you should think twice and or prepare your technology such a way that you can get voice notes or things like that, and you can be able to answer to the right calls. But don't expect or don't assume that you will never get you will get only calls in a certain time. Especially in US, you have different time zone, EST to PST. So your day starts very early, like maybe 7 a.m. EST, and then day ends very late, maybe 9 p.m., which is somewhere in California. It's like 6 p.m. closing day, right? So assume that. But second rounds or third rounds, it's much easier. So they'll have proper communication to you on timings and schedules.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that. Divina, do you want to take the next question or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll take it up. So, Pavan, the next question is that during interviews, it is not always possible to answer right. How do you answer questions which you do not have an answer for?
Yeah, I think everybody says this. So I mean, especially AI. If you ask AI like, hey, if I don't know the question, what do I answer? Right? Like, uh, there are two ways. First way is accepting that you don't know. That's every a lot of people says be honest and say you don't know. Some people or majority of the experienced people will say like, hey, you should accept in a way that it relates to the interviewer. Hey, there are, for example, one problem that you need to solve has multiple solutions. There's not always one solution is right, like, but you accepting that, hey, this is something that I know about it, I've been tried it or been used it, not specific question that you asked for, but here's the alternate that I did. So comparing that, knowing that, hey, this is the alternate solution is much important. That relates to. But majority of the interviewers, it's best, if you don't know, I mean, you need to prepare again, prepare. But if you don't know, it's best to say or accept that I don't know. But all the adding that to, like, just simply saying no will not be always helpful. Adding that, like, hey, this is a other thing that I know, but I can be, again, bookish knowledge, it will say like, oh, I can, I'm quick learner, I will learn, and all those things, it will not fly, that we think that it is, because Google says or ChatGPT says. But I feel like two things: either you be honest and explain like, hey, why you don't know, or explain that what is the alternate that you have been used.
Okay, that makes sense. Just moving to the next question. I know we just have 5 minutes left. So the question that we have is, you were talking about projects earlier, right? So what kind of projects actually help students become an engineer and not just improve their resume?
So there are different kinds of projects, Niti. The special projects are like, you should ask someone who has a project that is ongoing project, so they will be able to give you much more knowledge. Like work, like if you are having a mentor, ask them like, hey, how does the ongoing project works? And there are projects that are certain length, like, hey, only this 1 year we need to complete. This is a set of requirements, set of releases that they may be planning.
The consistency of routine.
So that's a different kinds of project, that you can learn something different. So like asking that question, like, hey, what kind of project that you are working on your mentor, and knowing that full details, like if it is ongoing project, like how does that ongoing project works. If it is a certain deadline project, then knowing that, hey, how does the deadline projects work. So it is not necessarily a specific technology in a project. Just think that all the project, like I said, about agile, right? Like the project may be just hosting a party, hosting a potluck, hosting a Diwali, festival, right? But knowing like what goes inside the project management, that knowledge is helpful, rather than just thinking, hey, what technology they used in that project, what technical stack that they used in the project, things like that. Just ask that open-minded questions like, hey, how do they do it in this project? How do they follow this agile in this project? Is it a standard, release, or is it ongoing releases and things like that?
Great. We are running out of time, Pavan, but there are a lot of questions, so I'm going to keep it very brief. There's a question that says that what is the scope of AI in the industry now, and how can students use it strategically?
That's a good question. I mean, things are changing every day drastically. So even day before yesterday, Claude has released a design tool. Name a lot of tools nowadays, like everybody knows it. But as a student, I would recommend two things. One, throughout your job seeking or job searching or job, cracking an interview process, you should actively use AI tools, whether applying job, whether shortlisting which job to apply, whether preparing for a job. You should use some tools, whether being in the interview, how do you answer some questions. There are many tools out there. You can search, figure out the tools that helps you prepare better for a job market, and the other set of tools that you actually use them in the workplace, right? So start practicing those now onwards, because not even there are seniors 20 years experience, they might not be actively using it, but you start using that makes a lot of difference. Even though you don't have experience, if your recruiter knows, or a hiring manager knows that you're actively using, your productivity is high, these are the tools that you're using, they would feel very happy, to hire you, right? Like compared to hiring a 10 years experience guy who is not knowing what kind of tool to use, or how to even use it. So I recommend job market is very easy to crack when you know what tool to use, how to use, when to use, and also once you land in a job, like you should know what tools to use, especially AI tools. So it is definitely helpful, rather than thinking, oh, am I going to lose jobs? Yeah, you would not be able to crack, you would not be able to sustain if you don't know how to use these AI tools or actively use them. So I recommend any student start actively using, try play around when you have time, not just spending too much time just applying for a job doesn't help. Having these skills, brainstorming with your mentor, and then learning new tools, playing with them, that is much important than just knowing the tool name. Having that experience also helps.
Wonderful. There are many questions, Pavan, but I will like to pick up one last one, which says that there are some students working in software engineering domain and are pursuing postgraduate degrees in AI and ML. They're confused about which domain they should target in job opportunities. How should be they taking some decisions on this?
Yeah, I think job market is, I mean, software development is itself changing. So now there is no SDLC itself. It's AI SDLC. So you have to use AI actively in the software development lifecycle. So let's say I am a, let's say you are a Java developer or a, .NET developer or a front-end React developer or a BA. So any domain or any technology stack that you're in, the the way you need to think now is the day-to-day activities are going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's not writing a code in IDE anymore, or the only thing anymore. It's all about, how do you leverage AI tools to get your work done faster, efficient way. How do you able to use your AI tools that can help you in your requirement gathering session, that can help you in order to generate reports out of it. If you're a database engineer, things like that. So yeah, I don't say it is the same as it was before. It is definitely different. That doesn't mean you need to figure out which domain. It's all about whichever the domain that you choose. How can I leverage AI tools in my domain so that I can be a better value addition to the team, rather than thinking, oh, can I use AI ML, as my first job, and search for AI ML will not be able to help. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. It's not about domain. It's about the domain that you choose plus AI. How can I leverage? That's more important.
Great. Thank you so much, Pavan, for sharing your journey so openly and honestly. It takes a lot of courage, and I really acknowledge you for this. And to everyone who joined today, I hope this session gave you not just clarity, but also confidence that your journey is valid and progress is happening, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Remember that you don't need a perfect roadmap, you just need to keep moving, learning, and adapting. Thank you all for joining us today and have a great day. We'll see you in the next session. And thank you, Pavan, for taking out time to be with us here today and share such wonderful insights.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.